Hello. I wanted to take the chance to share a very personal story. And this may seem a little peculiar. It's certainly unusual, that's for sure. And I've lived long enough, I've seen many things, but to actually personally experience this, I would say is on the level of miracle. I love nature. I'm not sure nature loves me, but I do love nature. I love being in nature, whatever that might mean. I guess for me it means walking amongst the trees and, in the woods. Not not in a creepy way. Although I have to say, as a man of my years, I actually look far younger than I am. I won't disclose my age, but just trust me, I look far younger than my years. So, I've been told, by the way, that I talk too fast. So, I'm talking more slowly today. Now, I am shifting to very slow in order to then get feedback so that I probably will need to adjust the rate of my speech so that I'm a little bit faster. But let's see how this goes. Who knows? Maybe this is better. I can tell you it's difficult for me. Here's a story for you. Now, many of you are going to call bullshit on this. Only I know, well, not only me, but only I know as a human being that this actually happened. Those of you who are watching, and there's not many of you, it's a select group, usually around 20 in total. And when I say watching, I mean people who might view this video over the course of many years. So you're part of a small, and to me, very special group. And I believe that you are seeing this video for a reason. I believe it's arrived in your feed. Not really. That's all bullshit. But here I am anyway. And here's what happened to me one day in my favourite place, walking in nature. I was walking in nature. And it was a brief walk because I was walking from my back door across my lawn to my swimming pool. I have a large swimming pool. It's a 50-metre Olympic-sized swimming pool. Because it may surprise you that I was once a competitive swimmer. That swimming pool at the moment is dry. It's empty. But when I say it's empty, it's not. It's full of rubbish. I guess all the detritus that will collect in an open space such as an empty swimming pool. But it's all in there. It could be, in some respects, a catalogue or some form of evidence of what's happened since the last time it was cleaned or the last time it had water in it. And that was some time ago. Now, on this particular morning, I was juggling. Now, juggling is something I do as a pastime. I find it very relaxing. I am proficient at juggling. Now, I don't juggle like a clown with those, what do you call them, pins, like the bowling pins. I juggle with balls, multicoloured balls. So I guess that's a bit clown-like, but that's my only concession to clownhood. And I like to juggle on the top diving board. So it's quite high up, and of course, it adds an element of danger and risk when the swimming pool has no water in it. If I were to fall, I guess that I would either die or be severely injured. I would guess maybe compacted spine, broken ankles, broken legs. Of course, if I dived, I mean, obviously I wouldn't do that, but if I were to dive in, thinking perhaps there was water there, I guess I might die. But I won't, because I know there's no water in it. And so this morning, not this morning, but on the morning talking about, I was juggling. On the top board, the highest board, I have 3 boards. The highest board. And I like to do that. I find it relaxing, and it keeps me on my toes. Not literally, because that's dangerous, because it will set the board to start moving, and that's not what you want. I'm always flat-footed when I'm juggling. So there I was juggling with my balls, juggling balls. And I have to say, I was oblivious to everything around me, including nature. And I made a comment earlier that I love nature, I care about nature. Nature doesn't care about me, doesn't care about any of us. And in this occasion, provides fantastic evidence of that point. I don't know about you. I've never considered a blue tit to be a problem. I've frankly got no interest in birds. Maybe that's an issue in itself. I just find them boring, if I'm being honest. I mean, I know they fly, but so do lots of other things. So do planes, for example. So do those men who fly with those kind of wing things. And, of course, there are lots of insects that fly as well. And ducks fly, and I don't think they're birds. They are birds, but anyway, whatever. Ostriches don't fly. Now, they're probably the largest bird, and yet they fail to do the one thing that birds are supposed to do really well, which is fly. So if I was an ostrich, I'm not sure. They must be mid-evolution, I'm assuming. I mean, I can't imagine that that's the peak of for that particular species, the peak of their evolution was to become a large bird, somewhat ungainly, with wings but can't fly. And I guess it becomes no surprise to me that certainly whenever I've seen videos, I've never come into contact with one personally, but whenever I've seen videos of these creatures, they're strange creatures, aren't they? They always seem to be in a bad temper. And I can kind of understand why. I would be pissed off if I had wings, it was all furry, all that crap I've got to deal with, all those feathers, long legs, look ridiculous, and you can't fly. Anyway, I've digressed here, which I'd often do, but at least I'm doing it slowly. So, let me take you back. I've had to put the windows down because it's quite warm. I didn't want to have the windows down because this is, people might think I'm a bit strange. I'm going to put them up again because someone's just parked. Why does that always happen? I'm in a park and ride that's usually empty. Because in this part of the world, there's very few people who want to ride anywhere. Certainly not ride into the town centre. I can't imagine why it'd be worth visiting under any circumstances. Least of all, parking your car. I mean, why park your car when you can just drive 1 mile from here and just park in the town centre? But no, they park here and then they get on a bus to get the bus into the town centre. Why? Oh, it's an old person, that's why. Right, so, where am I? I'm juggling, that's where I am. Top board of the swimming pool, right? It's dry. For me, it's no issue, right? I don't get frightened by heights. I don't even have to think about the juggling. Okay, it's an automatic thing. I do it. It's muscle memory, I guess. And because I'm in my own kind of zone here, I'm not really thinking about anything outside of me. I'm kind of, you might call it a form of meditation. I wasn't aware initially that I had become encircled by a group of blue tits. You might say, well, for a man who says he's not interested in birds, how do I know they're blue tits? Well, I do because I looked them up afterwards. Okay, so I didn't know they were blue tits at the time. And these blue tits were, well, frankly hostile. And I have no idea why. I wasn't in their area. I don't suppose they got a nest. on a diving board or in my dry pool. And if they did have a nest in my dry pool, then they need to go and move it to somewhere that they own. All right, so there's got plenty of land that they can say is theirs, like nature. So go and fuck off and go there. But they didn't have a nest there, and they certainly didn't have any claim to my diving board. But for whatever reason, they were fucked off, okay? And they were kind of encircling me in a threatening manner. I mean, when I say threatening manner, I don't mean they were saying anything threatening. In fact, they were silent, which was even worse, apart from their little flapping wings. And then they started to, in a kind of coordinated fashion, one at a time, they would pop in, right? Yeah, nip in and nip at me. They were trying to get my eyes. I mean, so yeah, this is like, for a juggler, it's like depriving a pianist of his fingers. Albeit I have on occasion juggled with my feet, but that's not the ideal solution, because clearly you need your feet to do other stuff, like stand up on the diving board. So there they are, I'm being attacked on the top diving board. And, you know, worryingly at that point, I realised that the diving board, because I'm trying to dodge these attacks, the diving board's beginning to move up and down like this. So I'm beginning to be at risk of falling off. Luckily, I always carry a 57 Magnum on me, which was, in fact, attached to my left foot. I am proficient with a pistol, and I'm proficient at firing that pistol, if necessary, with a foot. My foot, obviously. And so, I was prepared at that point to be standing on one leg only, still juggling. Although these things were nipping at my balls, juggling balls, while I was doing this, I was prepared to start shooting them with my Magnum, with my left foot. I know this sounds ridiculous, but it is actually true. I mean, this is why I'm not laughing, I'm not smiling. Yeah, I'm. Otherwise, otherwise this would be, of course, hilarious. If only it were fiction, right? But it isn't. It wasn't. But there's a happy ending to this. Dragonflies. I don't know how much you know about them. I never used to really pay them much attention. I was aware, briefly, kind of, I guess, vaguely aware of their presence. I mean, every now and again, some large thing would hover across and go past, normally near a pond, near water of some sort. So, of course, when my swimming pool was full, there used to be the odd dragonfly. I was also a little bit concerned about them because they look like that, you know, the thing at the end, I don't know what it's called, the body, you know, at the end. It looks similar to that of like a wasp, right, or a hornet, and I was thinking, well, they look similar. Do they do the same as a wasp or a hornet? Can they sting? Yeah, and my thought process was, look, you know, they're bigger, much bigger than you. What the fuck is it with this car park? Right, there's a massive car park here, really big. There's loads of spaces. I've parked in a really remote part of the car park, and yet it's very busy. Where I'm parking, people are parking, people are going. It's supposed to be park and ride, right? The idea is you park your car and you leave it for quite a long period of time. Not here. People are parking, getting out of their cars, and then they're going. I mean, I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're all making videos all about dragonflies. So, and blue tits. So there I am. Anyway, right? So I'm being attacked by blue tits. I mean, who would imagine it? And whilst that's happening, I'm raising my left foot, ready to take aim. And just as I'm starting to do that, my left foot has left the board. I'm now standing on one foot, juggling, and holding a pistol between my toes, in this case. I hear distantly familiar, and it was distant, both in distance at that point, but distant in my memory. I kind of thought, that humming, stroke buzzing, like huzz, if you like. or a bum. Yeah, like a cross between a buzz and a hum. I could hear that. I thought, what is that? What is that huzzing that I hear? And to my absolute delight, I saw it as I guess I view him now as not a colleague, not even an acquaintance. I view him as a friend. I mean, this chap has, he saved my life on this occasion, I believe. Or certainly saved me serious injury. I call him, I have a name for him. This is Derek. And yes, Derek the Dragonfly. Yes, I know. So I remember it. Alliteration. Okay. I don't want to forget his name. So Derek the Dragonfly. Now this one in particular, he's a big one. Big dragonfly. Now I didn't know until I'd met Derek a few years earlier that the way dragonflies operate is they don't sting. They bite. And they are, when they're in the mood, when they have need, they are brutal animals. And they're fast and, well, they're ruthless. And Derek systematically de-eyed each of these blue tits. He just pecked their eyes out one after another. These things, little fuckers, you know, that were flying about, they didn't even know what happened. You know, the 1 minute they're there, like, for whatever reason, picking on me, innocent man standing on his own fucking diving board in his own back garden, juggling. They're just, yeah, they just decide, okay, we'll go and attack him. I don't know whether I don't know, who knows? Maybe they thought the balls were, I don't know, blue tit eggs. But I mean, these balls are bigger than a blue tit, so that's not a valid excuse. And so, within a very short period, I mean, I would have said less than 30 seconds, each of these blue tits has gone blind because they don't have any eyes. In some cases, one of them had an eye that was like hanging off. Most of the eyes had been eaten by Derek. And they just, well, obviously they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know where to go. And so they just started flying about. And unfortunately, 2 of them flew into me. Obviously, they didn't mean to. It's not their fault. Don't blame them for that because they didn't know where they were going. They flew off in sort of chaotic, desperate sort of confusion and no doubt some degree of pain, having had their eyes pecked out by Derek. And I do hope that each and every one of them has met a painful death, a painful, long death. You know, I don't mean, of course, death is long. I mean, the process of dying. I hope it was long. I hope it was painful. I'm not one normally to hold a grudge, but Jesus Christ, I deal with those little fuckers. So that's Blue Tits for you, and that's a story from, one of many from my past. Remarkable, difficult to believe, I know, but true. But true, including me being a competitive swimmer, by the way, back in the day. Not that anybody, no matter how good you are at swimming, can do anything in a dry swimming pool, obviously. I've got another story about Derek actually and his wife that he had a few years back. He killed her in the end and ate her, which was not nice to see. I wasn't particularly, I don't know why he did that. But anyway, that's Derek for you. So that's the end of the story. I hope you have enjoyed that one. And it was absolutely true. So, you know, at least you know it's a real story. It's a true story, not based on events. Literally the events by the person they happened to. Now, obviously, if I could bring in the blue tits as victim witnesses, I would. But I've got no idea where they are. And, of course, there's nowhere they can find me because they can't see. Derek, well, he's elusive. He'll appear like, he's a bit like a superhero, but he's an insect. And he will appear wherever, whenever there's a problem. I always know that Derek he's going to turn up, and he'll do his best, whatever the situation. Anyway, thanks for listening. I'm getting really hot, so I've got to go.